Hello everyone, welcome to Gaming with Big Green, and this is the part 2 from the other video that we covered earlier about the ladies. But I gotta touch on something real quick, because when I said about the two epic female characters, the Eye Patch and the Night Spectre being okay to open rallies, you gotta check the damage too, because you can try to swap them out and see what your damage does, because if you check in here, they have a 99% increase of attack to the bombers and shooters and stuff like that. Hers has shooters obviously, and then hers would be the bombers. But you can see that they do increase the stat of the troops just in general through their gears and stuff here, and just from their rarity. Even though she has really good stats, the legendary characters are really good too, and they are slightly stronger. But what I was trying to say is, if you don't have their widget gear, or if you don't have them worked on, it is okay to open the other two rallies, or to open rallies with the other two characters. That's basically what I was trying to say. Not saying that they are better than the legendary characters, but it all depends on how much work you have put into them. Alright, so with that behind us, we're going to look forward to the guide characters. Now, the guide characters are mostly defense. The females are mostly for attack and rallies, and your guide characters you see here are going to be mostly for defense. You're kind of going to see that as we look through it, except for these people right here. They're going to be the rare exception. That's why we touched on them a little bit on both, or kind of touched on them. All right, so we're going to jump in. The first dude is the only male legendary character we have in this game, other than the paywall guy at the bottom. Again, we don't have them two characters, so we're not going to cover them, but this guy right here in the second row down on the left, Hellfire, he is a very good bomber, but he has very high defense stats. He is not an attack bomber. You do not want to use him if you're trying to do maximum damage, like in Bear Trap or an attack rally. He would not be your ideal choice, because you see right there, his rally, even his rally joining skill is troop defense. All his skills on the right hand side, troop HP, stun, and troop defense. So all three stats on the right that will apply to a rally when you have him in your opening lineup would be defensive stats. Now you can see right here, even his rally defensive stats, while defending, they gain additional defense. So it's 100% all defense with that guy, which is very good if you pair him up with him, because enemy attack decrease and just straight up defense with him. So you have that shield character with that bomber. If you're trying to garrison a building, if you're trying to like lock down a development center and people are sending waves of attack at you, it's good to have these two characters, and also a shooter that is a strong defense character, like this guy right here, the little cop on the bottom right. You can see that he right here, he has troop damage taken reduction. All right, so that's a different stat from the other two, but it's still defense stat. So he would be also a good rally joiner. So even when you're joining rallies, like that would be a good team to defend in, would be him. But even if you're joining a rally, he would be a good rally joiner. And also the other two characters, Hellfire and the Justice guy. So whenever you're joining a rally, the character on the left, that skill will apply once it's a level 5 skill. So, and that's the same thing for attacking. So once we get a 4-star character and we get the skills to level 5, their stats on the top right corner in the war section will apply to the rallies. The top right, that stat right there. But again, with the blue characters here, they're basically just buffs. You'll see cash increase, and then the bottom one is going to be a gathering buff. Gasoline. The first one was wood. This guy is cash on the top right here, and then he's got food gathering. So then that would make this guy, yep, you guessed it, cash and steel. So let's see, cash and steel, yep. So the 4 blue characters are gathering buffs, and they increase your cash flow into the city. So they're not really worth anything in the rallies. Again, when you're defending, you're going to want to use these guys. So we got the gladiator, and you can see again troop HP increase, and then troop damage reduction. So all the guy characters again have defense stats. So he has troop HP. So if you notice the top right corner, just like the ladies, the stats are different. Right there, troop defense and troop HP. So he has both to it, and I really like him because he has another stat that we'll look at in a second. But if you look at all these stats in the top right corner, they're all different because if you're joining a rally, you want to have, again, troop defense, troop HP, troop reduction. You want one of each person as a rally joiner. You don't really want a duplicate character because it runs at 66% effectiveness. Now this is the stat I was talking about. Enemy lethal decrease. That is the only stat that I see defensively that is on any type of character that is like that. Now that could be very good because if your team you're going against has a lot of lethal, that can knock that down, and that could really help you in a defense rally. So I really like that character. Now this guy's pretty good too because the healing speed is very important later on into the server. Early on in the beginning of the server, battles are really not, should be prioritized. That's why battle tech is not that important in the beginning part, because it's more about growing. And yeah, you go for development centers, but you don't really need the buffs to show your strength for development centers. I mean, if you can't take a development center straight up and you got to worry about doing crazy stuff, then you probably shouldn't be going for the development center. Like the battle stuff is for later in the game when you're doing like the main castle battle or server versus server. But again, guys, so guy characters for defense, female characters more for the offense. But again, it depends on how you use them. Using these characters have a certain formula. You can't have duplicate characters when you join a rally once you start having levels 5 skills. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You don't want duplicate characters. You have to pay attention to the skills on the right hand side, especially the top skill on the right hand side. That skill has to be up to level 5, and that character has to be on the left when you're joining a rally, not opening but joining. All right, guys, so there was a lot of information here, and this is a part 2 to the 1-part video that covers the ladies, which mostly is rally joining. I hope you guys watch these, and I'll put more content out. You all have a wonderful day. Thank you.